Welcome back. You're watching Network Africa on Channels Television. A South African school has apologized for setting an exam question using a satirical cartoon of President Jacob Zuma floating in a pool full of money. Students had to identify the man in the picture and say whether they would vote for him or not, using the cartoon as a source in their answers. The Education Department for Gauteng Province has welcomed the apology. In a separate development, Democratic Alliance MP Zakele Mbele alleges that the money spent on buying cars for President Jacob Zuma's wives could have funded 116 university students for a year, or to hire an additional 61 police officers for a year. And all this come as President Jacob Zuma plans to head to court, as he intends to appeal against the court ruling seeking to reinstate corruption charges against him. In a press release, the president says the decision of the court directly affects him, and he believes the court erred in several aspects in its decision. Junta Media CEO joins us now for more on this. Lucas Molloy, all the way from South Africa. Thanks for staying with us on the program. Let's begin.
Thank you very much for inviting.
Great to have you. But let's begin with that satirical picture of President Jacob Zuma floating in a pool of money. It sounds a bit insulting to the president, but would you say the majority of young Africans or South Africans perceive President Jacob Zuma like that?
I would say to you that, number one, the picture has really found a lot of condemnation from various groups. Number one is, although there is dissatisfaction with how the president has been doing things, a lot of people still feel that there has to be a presidential respect afforded to him. So yes, people are feeling that the president is very wasteful. People are feeling that they have been they're getting the short end of the stick in the whole matter. But the cartoon itself, we're sitting in a position where people are saying the cartoonist, Zapiro himself as a cartoonist, has been very controversial in his drawings of President Zuma. So that in itself carries a lot of condemnation. But people do feel that the president is very extravagant and the president is very wasteful when it comes to state resources.
I know this is not in the works, but is there any plan, is there any punishment for the school for using that picture?
Yes, they definitely would be. The minister, the MEC actually, of education in Gauteng, Mr. Apologises, has condemned the school for using this, and he has said that next week he will take appropriate disciplinary steps for the school to use such a picture in its curriculum.
Okay, so moving on to what the Democratic Alliance had to say about the cost of the president's wives, the wives' cars. 116 university students who could have been funded for a year, and 61 police officers who could also have been funded for a year. Is there any truth to this? Or is this just a bit to weaken his chances in court?
There is definitely some truth to it. Look, the amount has been estimated, I think, around 9 million at the moment. And surely it is an amount that can fund quite a large number of students and that. And taking into consideration that at the moment the country has been really we've seen quite a number of demonstrations of students where fees are a case, in a country where crime and debt is becoming a problem, and some of the police stations are not well resourced to deal with the crime that is happening in their vicinity, and that it could be seen as a lot of wasteful expenditure that could have been used in order to resource such. But again, we need to take into consideration the fact that in this case, the president's wives are entitled to such benefits. You know, the only thing is that if it was any other president, we would be dealing with such on one wife. And in this case, we're dealing with such on multiple wives, and that is what has pushed the amount to that. But it is not that the president's wives were not entitled to such a benefit as the president's wives.
Well, I guess there's also technicality there that the South African government needs to work out. But what are the chances of the courts granting President Zuma's request to block the reinstatement of the corruption charges?
Look, this is the case that has been going for quite a long time, where we've seen one decision being overturned by the next and that. And this is not new, because since from the beginning of this case, this is what we have been seeing where one institution would judge another way, and the next institution going against the first judgment. So at this stage of that, I think it has gotten to a point also where the courts themselves, every judge that presides over this case, whether being for a review or what, they have tended to now be very careful to look deeply at the merits of the case and that. So, and again, there's a lot of point scoring that is going within this case and that. So I do not want to come and be the one that predicts what is going to happen with the case and that, but we are definitely going to see the judgment getting more serious. We are going to see the judge that is going to come in getting a little bit more careful of the judgment that they make. But I would not put it past past them saying that the charges should be reinstated, and that is because of the many other cases that we have seen the president losing at the moment, and everything that is happening. We may see the charges being reinstated. Yes.
Lucas, great point you made there about us having to wait and not, take your predictions, as it could go either way. Thank you for joining us on Network Africa.
Thank you very much.
Well, I love success stories in Africa, and here's one for you. Chief Teresa Kachinda-Moto has become a star and an idol for girls in Malawi, all because of her courage to break up more than 850 child marriages. Just last year, Malawi passed a law banning child marriages, managing a population of close to 900,000 people. Kachinda-Moto has developed a system that enables her to find children in unlawful unions and sending hundreds of young girls back to school.
Chief Teresa Kachinda-Moto has a reputation for breaking up marriages that has made her a hero for hundreds of girls in Malawi. She has ended 850 child marriages in the last 3 years in a country that only last year passed a law banning the practice and raised the minimum age for marriage to 18. Malawi has one of the world's highest rates of child marriage. Half of girls wed before their 18th birthday, and nearly 1 in 8 is married by 15. Many are married even younger. Chief Kachinda-Moto is on a mission to get Malawi's children out of wedlock and back to school.
I tried my best to see these girls to be a lot in classes. So as you can see, indeed, I'm a happy chief.
In a country where child marriage is deeply entrenched in society, partly because of the belief that a girl should marry as early as possible to maximize her fertility, the chief has a difficult task. Born into chiefhood, Kachinda-Moto left her job of 27 years as a secretary to command a population of 900,000 people out of Dedza district in Malawi's central region 13 years ago. Despite the law, many families are still against breaking tradition to keep their children in school. Some families marry off young daughters in exchange for dowry payment, or so they have one less mouth to feed.
Yes, they said, no, we have the rights with our girls. And even the men, we have the rights with our boys. So there's no one who can change what we are doing. I said, well, enough is enough. But this time, I want to change. I don't like this. I want these children to be educated. Because if you educate a girl child, in the future, they will take care of you.
In parts of Malawi, when a girl reaches puberty, she may receive a nighttime visit from an older man known as a hyena who prepares them for marriage. Judith Kabango was married when she was 14. She has a 4-year-old son. Kabango's marriage was annulled after Chief Kachindamoto, while carrying out a door-to-door campaign, found her working in a maize field during school hours. She has since gone back to school at age 18. Chief Kachindamoto drew the support of various authorities, including her 50 sub-chiefs, clergy, charities and other community leaders, to ban child marriages and annul existing ones, even before it was officially outlawed by Parliament.
There is mother groups, and we have these community policing, child protection workers who are going, looking each and every house to follow these children.
The chief wants the legal minimum age for marriage to be changed from 18 to 21.
Still to come on Network Africa, Angolans face water shortages, budget cuts affect public services. To join us again.